There were several obstacles and key challenges we had to overcome along the way in order to drill and complete this well correctly.
Many obstacles that the previous operator could not overcome.
For them, Atlanta was undrillable.
At a certain point, the company found itself at crossroads.
Atlanta is the first deepwater project in Brazil to be fully developed by an independent oil company.
Where many doubted, we dared to believe.
It was tough. Way tougher than anyone could have imagined.
In the depths of the ocean, 185 kilometers off the coast of Rio de Janeiro, crews work around the clock to achieve a production goal that demands seamless coordination, precision, and expertise. Here is where the culmination of a 13-year investment, testing every limit, is set to unfold. A testimony of determination, experience, and vision for the achievement of a challenge that many thought was impossible.
Atlanta is an unusual project because it is a project in deep water that requires very advanced technology, typically only undertaken by large operators.
Atlanta is the first project fully developed by an independent Brazilian oil company from the ground up.
Every mega project like this, like the Atlanta field, is always challenging and comes with its own set of unique complexities.
At over 1,500 meters beneath the surface, the reservoir holds vast reserves of heavy crude oil. This oil, with a density of 14 degrees API, is trapped within a sandstone layer with a porosity that pushes the limits between rock and sand.
When you're dealing with a mix of highly unconsolidated sand and heavy oil, the oil can drag the sand straight into the well. And when solids enter the production tubing, they can cause erosion. This can lead to losing the well entirely.
The reservoir is an anticline, and it closes on a fault. So, to achieve high productivity, we drill horizontal wells to get greater exposure to the reservoir.
A risky maneuver made even more challenging by the sandstone layer of only 800 meters thick between the seafloor and the reservoir. The challenges discouraged the major operators who held the exploration rights to Atlanta. In 2011, Enauta acquired 30% participation of the block. In the following year, it became the operator.
We consider this project a mega project for any global industry standard. If we add up everything that was invested to put the early production system in place, the exploratory phase, the discovery of the Atlanta field, planning and testing, the investment exceeds $2 billion.
A well-executed project always aims for the best technical and economic decisions. The Atlanta project was designed from the start in two phases. The first phase is the EPS, the early production system, which was originally planned to last only 3 years, but has now been running for over 6. So, it's gone more than double its intended duration and is now being replaced by a larger unit.
The main challenge in the development of an oil field is the reservoir. With the early production system in Atlanta, we were able to confirm the quality of the reservoir, the characteristics of porosity and permeability that allow oil to flow, and the existence of a very powerful aquifer that didn't require the drilling of water injection wells.
Effective coordination across the project's many interfaces is key to ensuring that Atlanta moves forward as planned.
I make it a point to hold this meeting open to everyone, without any restrictions. It's a meeting I have weekly, every Monday morning, to start the day and ensure everyone is aligned. Because I want everyone to understand the interfaces between one activity and another. It's about setting a clear direction so that everyone is moving towards the same goal. In this meeting, I really emphasize finding ways to keep us from going off track.
You have to combine the experience of veterans with the fresh talent of younger professionals, creating a team where you have people who faced the challenges before and those who are smart, well-trained, and encountering these problems for the first time.
We built a team of people, a blend of seasoned experts and young talent. But it wasn't just any blend, it was the perfect balance that gave us the confidence that we had mastered the necessary technology.
From this mix often come solutions, some that the more experienced team already knows are the right path, and others that the veterans had never considered. Solutions that can turn out to be even more efficient for addressing certain problems.
I've been in the industry for almost 48 years, and we also have the younger generation. Passing on this knowledge is something we prioritize. It's very important to transfer what we know to the young professionals coming in.
From taking over operations in 2012 until first oil of the early production system in 2018, it was 6 years of relentless search for innovative solutions to overcome Atlanta's natural resistance.
Our well begins vertically, but it transitions to horizontal, extending 800 meters into this sand formation.
So from the very beginning of drilling, you start gaining the angle to enter the reservoir horizontally.
Now picture this, a well drilled to a diameter of 9.5 inches, about this size, maintaining an exact 88-degree angle of inclination over 800 meters. Executing the transition from vertical to horizontal with such precision was no small feat.
You have to be extremely cautious with the drilling process and the mud system to avoid fracturing the reservoir. If this happens, you collapse the well entirely.
So we perform an operation called gravel pack. We lower a tube covered with a very fine mesh screen into the well, and then we fill the space between the tube and the well bore with carefully graded sand. Why do we do that? To prevent the sand from migrating into the well. So when I'm producing this well, the reservoir sand stays put and only the oil flows. We successfully performed 6 gravel packs, achieving 100% packing, an incredible accomplishment. I would say this well is nothing short of a masterpiece.
Innovative ideas, executed with technical precision, brought the heavy oil of Atlanta, known for its challenging characteristics, closer to production. Atlanta was on the verge of being fully conquered.
Everything we saw, learned, and discovered during the early production system has, in one way or another, been incorporated into the full field development. The famous lessons learned. What worked, you repeat. What didn't work so well, you change.
Atlanta's full field development includes 6 production wells, each with its own Christmas tree. To lift the oil to the FPSO, the Subsea team adopted a new pumping system.
Due to its high viscosity, Atlanta's oil requires a robust artificial lift system to ensure flow for at least 10 years. So we decided to replace the lifting method from the early production system with multi-phase pumping, what we call MPPs, or multi-phase pumps. These pumps were manufactured and brought in from Norway. They truly represent the state of the art in artificial lift technology because they are highly robust and reliable, perfect for application in the Atlanta project. Each pumping system is made up of a base, a pump station, and a pump module. Each MPP also has its own dedicated umbilical with a power distribution system. Each well has its own Christmas tree. We have risers connected to the platform, 3 pumping systems, and 2 PLEMs, or pipeline end manifolds, to manage the entire subsea distribution, serving each Christmas tree individually.
Pipeline system, we are talking about 25 kilometers of production lines, plus approximately 10 kilometers of service lines, and another 24 to 25 kilometers of umbilicals.
With multiple fronts and equipment coming from different countries, the schedule had to be followed closely.
It's a constantly moving puzzle. Everything has to fit in the right place at the right time. The logistics of moving equipment and people was a major challenge. We moved equipment from various parts of Brazil and the world to our shore bases in Rio de Janeiro, and from there out to the Atlanta field.
We're talking about equipment the size of buildings or as big as a bus, with significant weight. You need specialized vessels to install them on the seabed. And this equipment is being installed at a depth of 1,500 meters. So they require big cranes and ROVs to be able to move and install these structures.
So when we say that we have just completed 20 FPSO mooring lines, it seems like it was easy. But we are talking about 120-ton torpedo anchors with 1,500 meters of mooring lines attached to them that we had to retrieve using anchor handling vessels to connect to the FPSO. All done on schedule, as planned, without surprises. We were able to do everything right because there was a lot of planning and focus.
The early production system of Atlanta produced more than 30 million barrels of oil. The FPSO Atlanta has the capacity to produce 50,000 barrels per day. The knowledge and experience gained so far will be used in the development of other fields.
Atlanta had a significant turnover of partners. Some of the partners faced financial difficulties. The industry went through different cycles. Other partners changed their strategies. This illustrates the degree of challenges involved and the resources required to execute a project of this scale.
The tension mounted. In 2020, the COVID pandemic paralyzed the world and sent crude oil prices in the international market to zero.
In this scenario, COVID pandemic, collapsing oil prices, our partner decided to leave the project.
We found ourselves alone at a crossroads. We could either surrender and give up the field or face the challenge head-on and move forward with the development on our own. A rare and daring move in the oil and gas industry. After all, it's a truly monumental endeavor.
At the end of 2020, the plan for Atlanta's full field development had a high break-even point, a very high cost. So I challenged the team to rethink the project, simplifying its scope and reducing costs.
The market was crazy. The oil and gas market, the pandemic, the demand. What would oil demand be like? The market was in complete chaos. It was a critical moment for communication. Getting through the gate, in this case, the sanctioning, the decision to proceed with the execution of Atlanta's full field development required total alignment, not only within the company, but also with suppliers and key contractors.
You have to align a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people.
And this was during the pandemic, with everyone working from home, physically separated from each other.
And we had 30 days to make a decision. Either we walk away too, abandon the project and leave Atlanta behind, or we take on the project alone. Well, that in itself was an extreme situation.
But that's exactly what they did. The teams went back to the drawing board, redefining the project's scope and identifying where investments could be cut. The project's future was at stake. Would the new plan be approved? The work was intent to meet the target and prove that even in the face of this challenge, Atlanta was viable, and that the revised project plan deserved the board's approval.
O processo de FID, ele significa a etapa de você.
The FID process is the stage where you finalize the design and scope of the entire project, where you review every single parameter with suppliers, assess all the risks involved, and clearly define what needs to be done and exactly how it's going to be executed. It's a tough environment. It's a demanding, high-stakes process. It involves a lot of people, a lot of coordination, mobilizing multiple companies and highly specialized teams all working together.
In the end, with the revised plan in hand, all that remained was the board's decision.
In February 2022, the board of directors approved the Atlanta project. It was a revised project by the team, very robust and attractive to investors. I think this proves the technical capability of the team, which, in a very short time, developed a competitive and economically viable project.
Giving up isn't in our vocabulary. We took full ownership and we moved forward.
We were all in. It's go time. For us, that was a major milestone, a huge achievement. It was the beginning of a new era in the execution of the full field development.
More than ambition, it was the confidence in the capabilities of a great team of professionals within the company.
The Atlanta project also introduced a new approach to working with suppliers.
We worked with suppliers both in Brazil and around the world. Abroad, that included the United States, the United Kingdom, Norway, Malaysia, and the United Arab Emirates, specifically Dubai. In Brazil, we had partners in Espírito Santo, São Paulo, and Minas Gerais, not to mention Rio de Janeiro, of course. It was a project with fabrication efforts spread across multiple continents. Now, just as important as choosing the suppliers was the effort we put into building strong relationships with them.
Success only comes when you can effectively coordinate the internal interfaces across disciplines and across the different areas of the project. You've got well operations, reservoir, subsea systems, all involving different companies and service providers. It's not just about handing out tasks and saying, here's your part. No, it's about understanding each person's level of commitment. Interpersonal relationships really matter. We put together a steering committee, brought in the CEOs of all the partner companies, and presented the full project to them, so each one could see their role within it. How the equipment they deliver is key to the project's success.
Yeah, I think what is special here with the steering committee concept that has been done here is that you bring all the contractors together on a frequent basis rather than just being one by one. So you see what challenges the other contractors have and then find solutions how to work together to reach a common goal.
The steering committee meets every 3 months to assess progress, ensure timelines and costs are met, and reinforce the importance of every participant in the project.
The importance of the steering committee has really been to set the tone for everyone involved in this project. Setting the tone at the management level, making sure that we all are aligned from the get-go.
Mas o trabalho é realizado por pessoas. Projects are built by people. And when you have the right team aligned, challenges can be overcome, and the project reaches the success it was meant to achieve.
The Brazilian industry played a key role in the Atlanta project.
We achieved a significant amount of local content with at least 70% of the manufacturing done locally. All anchoring components, mooring piles, they were all made in Brazil. The Christmas trees were made in Brazil, and so were the wellheads.
I believe that the Atlanta project set a new precedent in Brazil in terms of partnership, delivering first oil in record time, and the level of collaboration across the board.
March 20, 2024. The FPSO Atlanta is ready to leave the shipyard in Dubai and begin its long journey to Brazil.
Today is a remarkable day for the project. We have reached a key milestone in preparing the unit for mobilization to the Atlanta field in Brazil.
This is a very exciting day, a milestone for everybody. This marks the end of the work here in Dubai Dry Docks, and the next journey begins, the successful sail to Brazil, and ultimately first oil.
The 322-meter vessel was adapted from an existing FPSO structure and required 9 million man-hours of work. It has the capacity to produce 50,000 barrels per day and store up to 1.6 million barrels of oil.
For the FPSO that we selected, we searched the market for a unit that best matched Atlanta's production profile. We tried to be as pragmatic as possible. The idea wasn't to design a tailor-made project. Our approach was simple. If the existing solution meets the requirements, there is no need to change it. Only make changes if absolutely necessary.
We brought in vendors to evaluate the equipment, assess its condition, and determine whether replacements were needed. We also conducted an evaluation of the cargo tanks to check if steel plates needed replacing. Then we began removing equipment that wouldn't be used for the Atlanta field. We had 0 lost time incidents on this project. Given the number of man-hours involved, that's a major achievement for us.
After 59 days at sea, sailing down Africa's eastern coast and crossing the Atlantic, the FPSO Atlanta reached its final destination, the Atlanta field, where it will work alongside Petroyal until the full field development is complete.
From the beginning, our subsea layout was designed with separate locations for both Petroyal and the FPSO Atlanta.
The strategy was to position the two units close together, allowing us to install the main FPSO while keeping the early production system running. It was an unusual strategy, but it allowed the company to maintain optimized cash flow without a lengthy production downtime.
The acquisition of the FPSO Atlanta was another bold move by the company, introducing a contractual innovation that benefited both the company and the builders, Yinson.
We proposed something different. Instead of chartering the unit, we would own it and then sell it back to them. That's how it's always been. Even when we hit a wall, we never back down. Taking the easy way out just wasn't an option. The easy way is to turn back. But we were committed to finding a solution, and that's how we faced every challenge.
In the FPSO Atlanta project, the company also adopted measures to prevent, reduce, and control risks and impacts, ensuring the safety of people, the environment, and the assets.
Early on, during the initial phase of the FPSO conversion in Dubai, the engineering team explored several ways to reduce the field's greenhouse gas emissions. One of them was reserving space on board for future carbon capture technologies, solutions that could further strengthen our environmental performance.
Additionally, 2 of the 4 turbines on the FPSO Atlanta can be powered by the very crude oil produced in the field.
I think that perhaps the most disruptive part of this project is precisely the use of crude oil produced in the field itself to generate this energy. So why was burning Atlanta's crude oil viable? Because it's a low sulfur oil. So today, Atlanta's crude is used as bunker fuel for transcontinental ships. And that, in fact, fully complies with international regulations, which set a maximum sulfur content of 0.5% for marine fuel.
Every FPSO has storage tanks, and in those tanks, you can't leave air on top of the oil. So what do? We inject gas to keep the environment inert. We call it inert gas, but in reality, it's usually CO, carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide. In our project, we implemented a system to avoid using CO altogether, replacing it with natural gas for tank blanketing. And when we load the tanks with produced crude, that gas doesn't get released into the atmosphere. It's reused to generate energy on the platform.
Reaching first oil would require every ounce of effort and precision from the team.
Guys, we've received the green light to start up the Atlanta field.
Attention all personnel. We're introducing
hydrocarbons into the process system for the first time.
Hey production, I need an operator at the separation and stabilization module. Flares confirmed, it's running on propane and pilot is lit.
Go ahead with manual valve alignment.
Please proceed with the valve alignment to the test header.
Let's run a final check to make sure the cargo tank system is all set.
You can proceed. Start introducing hydrocarbons and initiate the multi-phase pump.
Copy, Raphael. We are starting the multi-phase pump now. Command sent.
Having conquered first oil, it's time to look to the future.
The company is growing. We've already shown recently how ambitious we are by creating the most relevant independent oil company in Brazil.
This is the beginning of a new chapter, a new horizon for our Enauta.
Brava Energia is born, carrying in its DNA the expertise to take on the industry's toughest challenges.
The delivery of Atlanta's first oil, along with the merger with 3R Petroleum, marks the beginning of a new story, the rise of Brazil's leading independent oil and gas company.
In my 13 years here, we've faced major challenges, and we've dreamed big. To paraphrase Martin Luther King, every man must have a dream. Every man must have a star. And today, we are realizing our dream of practically 10 years ago.
I grew with Atlanta, and Atlanta grew with me.
It's really incredible to have been part of this project from the very beginning. And now, to reach first oil, knowing that we did it all with integrity, transparency, and social responsibility.
The team showed incredible resilience, overcoming each phase and ultimately delivering this project with excellence.
The formula for success is drive. The drive to make it happen, to see this project delivered, the field producing, becoming a valuable asset, and a defining moment for everyone involved.
It's a feeling of pride and a deep sense of belonging, knowing we're part of this.
This project continues a legacy we've been building from day one. And we're proud to contribute to the country's economic development.
The new generation who joined us on this journey, they'll carry this project on their resumes with pride.
This is very important to us.
This is a big win, but it's only the beginning. We're ready for whatever comes next.
I'm very optimistic about the future. The future looks promising.
This moment will live with them forever, and in all of us. The great feeling of having conquered Atlanta.